I'm Batista, and my friends call me Bunny. These glasses are prescription, so I can see you, not just trying to be cool. This is episode 51, Color Strings and Swatches. Behind me is the factor of nerdiness that I've been experiencing, and if you follow me on social media, you know that I've been nerding out on these color swatches and color panels lately. Been reading Richard Schmid's Alla, Prima 2, and inside they have lots of examples of knowing and understanding your color. So I've been creating this little book, all sorts of things with all the colors and materials that I use. I also created, right behind me, a Zorn palette. Take a look. I covered up an old painting on a panel with a few layers of gesso and gave it a light sand. I measured out my grid and marked it down, and I taped it up between the lines. The tape I'm going to remove later. But I also created a second one on canvas paper so I could hole punch it and add it to my reference book. I am a big fan of knowing what your tools can do, but also their limitations, and I prefer to come at things with restrictions and limitations because that allows me to create innovative solutions. I think a limited palette is a great way to going about this, but also just how to learn paint well. Usually my limited palette has a minimum of 5 tubes of paint, but the Zorn palette only uses 4. And in all likelihood, many masters of the past use similar palette since resources and colors were more limited. Anders Zorn, from which this palette now gets its name, is a Swedish painter known for his stunning portraits. He was a prolific artist. He became an international success and one of the most acclaimed portrait painters of his era. Some of his sitters include 3 American presidents, nobility, Swedish King Oscar II and his queen, and numerous members of high society and residents, Grover Cleveland, William H. Taft, and Theodore Roosevelt. Zorn also painted portraits of family members, friends, and self-portraits. He's also famous for his nudes. Now, Zorn is known to use a basic color palette consisting of lead white or flake white, yellow ochre, vermilion, and ivory black. This limited color palette shows a tremendous range in terms of color mixing. A large variety of tonal ranges are possible to mix and considered as a very important development for portrait painter. However, the color palette can also be used in still life and landscape painting under certain circumstances. But what's most striking is a kind of olive green color you're able to make by mixing ivory black and yellow ochre. I call it atelier green, I use it a lot. Ivory black is bluish in nature. There's also a misconception that Zorn only used these 4 colors. He used many auxiliary colors just as needed. For my chart, I used titanium white instead of lead white for blending the swatches. And the 3 main colors I used full strength across the top row are yellow ochre, cad red, and ivory black. Now you can replace these colors like cad, which are known to be toxic. This one is a cad hue, so it's not true cadmium, but naphthol red may work here as well. Now, ivory black is really important because that's where all the blues are going to come from. And the rest, as you can see, are just color swatches that are transitioning down towards white. At the bottom, I'm using the same color mixing as I have along the top, but I'm also using the colors which were not mixed in the row above. So, with yellow to red, there's no black in it. So on the bottom row, there's a little bit of black, ivory black added to each of those colors. Now you can see what an amazing range you are able to get with this limited number of colors. You should also check out Zorn's expressive work and amazing painted skin tones. His paintings have freedom and energy, kind of sketchy, and they use warm and light in the shade areas with contrasting warm and cool tones. He has a clear understanding of color contrast and his reflected lights. Zorn's very accomplished, and his use of the brush allows the forms that he's depicting and the texture of the painted subject to reflect and transmit light in a very realistic or believable way.
In addition, Zorn's nudes are amazing. They're excellent in realistic depictions of the color. He's also very good at painting water, as well as scenes of depicting rustic life and customs. I advise you to have a look at Anders Zorn's work to see exactly what I'm talking about here.
Thank you for joining me. This long weekend was great. I'm back at it for the entire month teaching day classes at the Alberta College of Art and Design. In the evenings, I'm going to have some open opportunities here. You can find out about those by going to atelierartista.com. Also, if you like these videos and you want to see more, subscribe below. Until then, I'm going to get back to this. Ciao.